Again, with predictive analytics, the thing we offer is a drag and drop kind of a tool for building the data science and machine learning workflows. So you can build all your workflows of data science, machine learning, statistical functions in one place. So it's all drag and drop tool like this, where you can create your and build your own workflow. You can even utilize our Python code, Python notebooks to actually build those workflows. There are a lot of functions, there are a lot of algorithms which are there, which you can use drag and drop and build a lot of solutions. And I'll talk about what kind of solutions can be built. But the idea is to basically use a tool which is light on the user development, right? We don't want users to basically keep on coding forever and not going anything into production. We want faster time to market. So that's where we believe in the drag and drop capability of the things, where even we have the capability for AutoML. So you can actually rely on AutoML to do a lot of the feature engineering as well as the model selection for you, rather than you spending a lot of time doing that by yourself. So that's the kind of capabilities we are talking about when we talk about the data science. And now I'll talk about the kind of use cases that you can solve with data science, basically. So one important use case, obviously, revenue generation is very important part, right? Be it from existing customers or new customers. So how you can basically decide the next best action for your customer, and for each customer, not for a generic set of customer by sending the emails, batch emails through your database and just flooding the emails. And I'm very sad to see, like I'm itself a user of a lot of banking in India. I am like, I have 2-3 accounts, and when I see that they just blast my email every couple of days by sending me random emails, which has nothing to do with what I want. So that kind of system still exists, and I know that a lot of banks, as well as not just bank, right? Financial services. When we invest in equities, or when we invest in mutual funds, when we invest in commodity, if we get more personalized insight on what kind of things similar people like us are buying, or what kind of things can be done, right? That's a kind of information I would like to know, rather than just a blanket email which is a generic one and sent to all kind of a thing. So how you can start by enhancing your journey for best action, and that best action can be in different format, and I'll cover some of this in the coming slides. So when we are talking about this, we are talking primarily about initially you can start with something like decision table, right? So decision tables are nothing but where you configure the rules, and those rules can decide how many number of combinations can be to give different offers, or to give different promotional emails. But that is, again, that can handle a limited kind of scenarios, maybe 100 scenarios, or in total, if you are covering one scenario in one email, you can cover maybe 100 scenarios using this. And many of the banks and financial services institution, insurance companies are doing this. But we want to take it more further. So whenever you are sending a particular promotion or an offer to a customer, do you want to run a propensity model and say what is the probability that this customer will particularly accept this, right? And then send them only when the model says you that these kind of models these kind of offers might be effective for that kind of user. So you might want to create more personalized offer. Check the acceptance of that offer before that is getting released, and you can actually go to level of 300 scenarios, or a more level of scenarios, right? But the idea is to take it much more granular level, much more customer centric level, and building things, or building a kind of maybe a big recommendation engine system for banking, or your banks, or your insurance, or for your financial services, to basically identify that if this is a customer, this is his profile data, what kind of things he would be interested in, given all the knowledge of the world I have, right? Because banks, NBFCs, they have like a very good information about a particular customer. Using that information, how we can design new products, as well as recommend products to the customer which will be useful for it, right? And again, I'll tie it back to the example of Asian Paints. When I was reading about them, and when they started, they were the first one who built like a small package of paint, because they realized that is what customer needs. So building new product, as well as efficiently delivering which product your customer need is again very important. And the same concept can apply to banking, right? Not everyone needs like you can derive a financial service product which can actually be based on action rather than based on the product itself, right? And what I mean by that is basically you try to build a product to solve a customer problem. If a customer wants to save for his retirement, you build a product around that, and not by taking 2 3 product together and saying that this is something which can solve your problem. So something innovative, right? That's where the innovation can happen, and that's where a lot of the data you have, existing data you have, can be used to build models. And those models will basically tell you that, okay, if this is the type of customer, this is the customer, what he might like or what he might not like. So that is the kind of models we can build for you together using our technology, and get that kind of system in place, right? That's very important for any organization. Again, taking it to specifically, because you want to start it with a high value customer, right? And who better than HNIs or wealth management companies? So that's where, like, a lot of we are seeing a lot of organizations building those recommendation engine, where basically they are coming up with the technology to so to bundle things in such a way that they can actually uh, find the similarity between the entire customer base rather than just bombarding with a standard product kind of a thing. So it's like every product, every customer has their own kind of product rather than, or a group of customers, right? Not always possible every customer, but if a customer is age 20 to 25 and living in this particular place and earning this much and this thing and this thing and this thing. So when you apply like 20 30 features, right, you can't really build a decision table. Then you really need that modeling to take those 20 30 features, churn out that probability of what this customer will like based on my historical data set I have. So that's the kind of thing we are talking about. And this thing is not just applicable obviously on the high level banking or the consumer banking. It is very relevant there, but especially in insurance, this is very much a lot of companies are actually doing these kind of things. Be it your wealth management systems or be it your equity systems, a lot of the companies want to do this, and they are doing, especially fintechs, right? You'll see a lot of fintechs. There's a concept of robo advisory where people are not advising, robots are advising, right? You can go to a website and basically build a lot of those things. So a lot of fintechs are trying to do it, but how existing bank or existing financial service companies or existing NBFC companies can actually build those kind of robo advisors in their ecosystem is something by using this kind of products, using by this kind of platforms, right? Where you try to target individual customers in a very personalized manner and not on a very generic way. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Again, especially as I was saying, right, fintech is a very important part of the entire ecosystem of BFSI. A lot of the places we are seeing robo advisor things. We are seeing a lot of the chatbots, right? The chatbot, you can make it a very simple chatbot, but the chatbot itself is like a user interface which you type something. But if you have to make it more intelligent, if you have to use more topic modeling in it, if you have to use more NLQ in it in a more intelligent way, and a lot of the things you might not have the people who can do it, but you can actually have these tools where using the drag and drop tools, your existing team can actually build this kind of things rather than relying on experts or heavy paid people to do this kind of things for you, right? Start like even for risk management or for advisory, be it the insurance advisory, be it the financial advisory, be it the wealth management. In all the places, these kind of entities will like when I say entities, these kind of robots will actually come and formulate a lot of the products by themselves and deliver to customer rather than relying on people always, right? Because people are not really good at some of this task when they think about making money for themselves most of the times. And people can be used for actually more productive things like managing customers, getting more customers, rather than putting a lot of effort into the operational engine of things. So that's a very cool area, a very dynamic area where we see predictive and data science being used heavily. Again, we have like more areas where if you have like customers and you are trying to monitor their pattern, you might want to look at the historical data set and see which kind of customers are leaving the organization. And using that information, can I build something and obviously you can do some of the bit in using your visual analytical tools, but if you want to really automate the entire process, you need something which can actually look at the data by itself, generate the features, generate the models, and those models will tell you what is the probability of a particular customer leaving at a given point of time, right? And that kind of information again can help with the better customer experience. So customer experience is again the key at the heart of everything, right? Where you want to see that if I'm able to detect that this customer who was spending on my services from last 12 months very good, and this month suddenly that customer has start spending less, or he's not spending much, right? So before even that customer actually leaves you, you can actually come to know about this and take some actions. Maybe if he's a very high net worth individual, you can actually have your customer executive talk to him and understand what problem he's facing so that you can actually solve it. Or if you looking at the data itself, if we find out that okay, this is the kind of trend or pattern we are seeing, what kind of other things we can give to that customer. So that's how you can take action. And again, how you can take action is something I have covered in the next part. This part is all about building those models which can look at the historical data and tell you what should be done. There is a separate engine on who will take that action, right? And we'll go into that in a while. But again, this is very critical, very important for a lot of like customer focused organization to identify customer churn. Credit default risk, right? Obviously this is like the kind of thing everyone would want if they know like who is going to default. But obviously not every time everything can be done, but you can build models which can be super smart. And again, this model can be very much demographically focused and use more features than what you could use by your traditional way, right? So you can actually pass hundreds and thousands of features to this kind of models, and they can actually detect whether a particular customer will default or not. And this can be in terms of customers, specifically when you are lending to the commercial organizations or individuals, or be it your NBFCs specifically, right? They need to really, and that's where I was going. So the part where I was showing the visualization part, right? Visualization part can tell you where the things are failing to again using some specific feature list. But if you want to enhance it, or if it is getting too complex for you to manage only using the visual analytics way, you have to put in something more intelligent, like a machine learning model, which can again take the data, like 5-year, 10-year of data, analyze it, and tell that these are the kind of customers who are more prone to default. And you can actually have that kind of models in place to detect the default. Again, when we talk about default, we can take it further in general to any risk, be it credit card fraud, right? So if anyone is swiping the credit card, depending on the scenarios, the different scenarios, you can know what kind of things can give error, can give basically the wrong transactions, right? Or they are fraud kind of transactions. And again, there is a whole lot of list where you can apply this, especially if you do a lot of anti-money laundering, if you are into like credit card, debit card kind of the heavy transactions that are happening. You want to basically make use of modeling to detect fraud on those. You can actually do that. So that is something again you can do using our platform for data science and machine learning.